Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin. Thank you for tuning into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. I'm the president and CEO of Swiss America Trading Corporation. And before we get started talking about what we wanted to do that's in the news today, I wanted to take the time to make sure that I told you about two very exciting and I believe two very relevant offers that for those of you tuning in, if you haven't taken advantage of, that you should, and even if you have taken advantage of, you should tell others about. The first, which CC, our producer, will pull up here. The title of our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. We have a report, The Secret War on Cash. And if you haven't gotten a copy of this, contact our office and do so, as it talks about some of the things that are kind of taking place in the underbelly of the government and the economy, and things that you may not be aware of and that you should be aware of. And to get a copy of this report, all you have to do is contact our office at 1-800-289-2646, or you can visit us online at www.swissamerica, that's SWISS America, all one word, .com. Or you can even text us actually at that same toll-free number of 1-800-289-2646. So like I said, if you haven't done that already, please do so. It'll be well worth your while, no obligation to it. Get your report. You can get it electronically or a hard copy, whichever you prefer. And then the second thing I wanted to talk to you about is you've been hearing so much about gold and silver in the news. The market for each of these metals, many analysts or experts out there are suggesting is going to absolutely explode throughout 2005, 2006, and the next actually several years. And the reason it's a pretty believable thing that they're saying is that it's already done so in 2025, and the forecasts only continue to roll in that are suggesting it's going to do even more so than what it has already. We have this offer for the Walking Liberty Halves. It's a special introductory offer with a limit of 250 coins. You can have this, for those of you who have never owned metals before, it's a fantastic starting point. So just you can see how the process works, get some metal in your hands and have something that will not only provide kind of a safe haven for you, but also something that has turned out to be a very good investment of something that has provided or offered some very good appreciation. And the way you would get a hold of that or get in contact with one of our representatives to do this, I should say, is that same toll-free number of 1-800-289-2646. You can call or text to that number, or also you can see this offer if you visit us online at www.swissamerica, that's all one word, swissamerica.com. So if you haven't done either of those things, I encourage you to do so promptly. The time to do so couldn't be better. So now that that's all done, I'd like to bring on my co-host, Chris Agelastos. Chris, are you hanging around here somewhere? There he is.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm doing well. Better than the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, well, that's good and not probably all that challenging or difficult these days. So sorry for the delay getting you on here. We talked about a couple offers that I know you're well familiar with, but let's get right into it here. The U.S. dollar. What is going on with the U.S. dollar? Our first article, the U.S. dollar falls against 8 currencies in 2025. Now, 2025, we are still in March of 2025. And the dollar has fallen against 8 currencies. Yeah. Why is this happening? Is it going to continue happening? And do you think there are more currencies that the dollar is going to be falling against here before long?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, we've been talking a lot this last year about BRICS and BRICS trying to dethrone the dollar and beat us up a little bit, reduce their reliance on the dollar. And lo and behold, they haven't had a huge effect yet. I mean, certainly it's been a slow but ongoing process. But here we seem to be beating ourselves up, mostly with all of these trade wars and tariff talks that President Trump has sort of unveiled since he's been in office. And that's really the big thing that we're feeling right now. And I do believe that long term, some of these effects will go away. I mean, I think the dollar certainly can rebound, but at the moment, you're right, we're down about a little more than 4.5% year to date, only 3 months into the year. And if this was like a sports bracket, right? Everybody's been paying attention to March Madness. 8 of the other 9 currencies, leading currencies out there, are beating us. So we did edge ahead of the Canadian dollar just a little bit, But other than
Perfect.
that, we're right near dead last. So the big question is going to be, can the dollar rebound? I do believe it can, but how much? Will it come back to where we were, which going into President Trump's term, we were actually high. There was a lot of optimism in the marketplace on him getting into office, and now, of course, all these trade battles have been a setback for the time being, anyway.
Well, and this is, the tariffs have been front and center in the news, and like as you mentioned, the trade battles, but doesn't even touch on some of the other things that are taking place in the economy with the debt deficits, interest rates. I mean, there is just
Right.
again, a plethora of things that will present or potentially and likely will present some tremendous vulnerabilities, not only to our currency, but to our economy as a whole. So talking about what's been happening with the dollar, looking at our next article here, we have rising gold and a declining U.S. dollar. So when you look at the dollar, which has gone down year to date so far, again, as we both just said, only into the month of March of 2025, the dollar's down 4.65%, and gold at the moment of this article, anyways, is up 16.75%. And
Yeah.
we started 2024 when gold was roughly $2,000 an ounce, telling people it's a great time to be getting into gold, and gold knocked it out of the park in 2024. They forecast many of the forecasts at the beginning of 2025 were suggesting that gold would hit $3,000 an ounce, and over the course of the entire year of 2025. And we've already surpassed that, where we've exceeded 3,000, and now those forecasts have been moved up 3,500, in many cases even more than that. So is this the relationship we might expect to see, in your opinion, Chris, whereas the dollar drops, gold's going to take off, or does it even matter what's going on with the dollar per se in terms of the performance of gold?
No, the dollar definitely has a large effect, as we're seeing here, but there are a lot of other variables. We've heard a lot about central bank buying. The central banks since 2010 have really ramped up their buying of gold to reduce their reliance on the dollar. And then in the last several years, we've also applied sanctions against a lot of countries, frozen, a lot of Russian assets. And so other countries are trying to get away from the dollar and their reliance on it. Doesn't mean that they'll completely abandon it per se, at least not right now. But they're wanting to get away from the negative effects of the dollar. It's not like holding the dollar has been perfect for other nations or even us as individuals. I mean, our dollar today in 2025 compared to 2020, just before COVID, has lost around 25% of its value. So your $100 bill is worth closer to 75 just in the last 5 years. So other nations are going to continue to follow that trend and diversify out. You also have a lot of institutional funds, mutual funds and different ETF funds that are getting into metals. That's obviously going to help the precious metal price. And then retail investors, a lot of families that are just looking to sort of do what other nations and what the central banks are doing and kind of protect their nest egg and not be too reliant on any one asset. We've all heard the term diversify to better protect yourself, and this is one example of that. So with all of those things combined, like you said, nearly 17% up year to date, and right around 50% over the last year or so, which has been phenomenal. But I do think that even if the dollar regains some strength, which I certainly hope that it will in the near term here, I think that you're still going to see the central banks and individuals moving money into precious metals for the stability that it offers. So I think even though it may slow a little bit, I think we're going to see a lot of people continuing to move into gold, and just avoid that dollar uncertainty. We learn from our past mistakes, and people don't want to relive 2008, 2009. Certainly, other nations that have had the dollar used against them for leverage in the last few years don't want to relive that, and so I think this trend is going to continue.
Well, Chris, that was a very good answer, and actually, you're absolutely right. The what's been moving gold prices, which has been taking place for several years now, the dollar is a factor. It does contribute to that, but it's one of 50 spokes in the wheel, if you will. And you hit on a lot of them, and there are still others as well. And so, let's just say that what's happening with the dollar, it definitely is contributing to it, but it is, like I say, just one minor spoke in the wheel. And that's not to say gold is the end all fail safe out there, but it is an asset class that, like you said, banks, institutions, individuals, they are getting into gold for the reason that they see all the things that are brewing in the economy that don't look so good, and they know that when things don't look good, that's where you want to be. So thanks for that, Chris, and we will continue to watch the price of gold throughout the course of this year and all the other things. For those of you tuning in, thanks for doing so, and if you're not subscribed to our podcast, please do so, as we'd love to talk to you more in the future. Chris, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.